Welcome to In the Arena. I'm your host, Minnie McAlinden. Today, I'm honored to welcome Brentt Tumey. He's a man whose life journey is nothing short of remarkable. Once a child caught up in the justice system, Brentt faced challenges that could have defined his future in all the wrong ways. He eventually served time in the Arkansas Department of Corrections, but after his second term, Brentt made a life-changing decision. He decided to turn his past into a mission. He's built a successful business, created jobs nationwide, and devoted his life to protecting and empowering vulnerable children. Today, we'll talk about kids, prisons, child abuse, and what it takes to reform a system so that every child has a chance at safety and future. Brentt, welcome to the arena.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you. So I am so excited to have you here. We've spent time together talking about the different things that you've done, and I'm excited to share it with a lot of other people. So let's start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm a young man living in Arkansas. I started out in Illinois. That's where I'm from, Northern Illinois. And I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger. So I didn't have a great childhood, in my opinion. And so I decided to just change my life up. Kind of do things a little different. And I guess I changed from one person to another when I got out of prison the second time. So
let's talk about that decision point. Like, what made you, because that's unusual, right? Like, a lot of times we see high recidivism rates because people, they come out of the system, things happen, and they go back in. And so you made a very conscious decision to pursue a totally different life. As a matter of fact, a very noble calling of dedicating your life to kids. So how did that decision happen? What was that turning point?
I think I guess when I was younger, I didn't know. I always thought I'd either be dead or, I'd be in prison forever. It was that kind of path I had when I was younger. And, I had a really good experience the first time in prison where I went to the Arkansas Department of Corrections boot camp program, and I couldn't go to the military. I was a convicted felon. I was a juvenile, but arrested and charged as an adult, and so I couldn't have. I couldn't go to the military. I was expelled from school, stuff like that. So I think I always knew that if nothing happened, I would get out and do something different one day. It was kind of like I was going through I was on a path, and I kind of knew where I think I would end up at if I didn't fall off the cliff. And I almost did. I fell off the cliff a couple of times because I was a bad drug addict. When you sell a lot of drugs and you get high on your own supply and you have a lot of drugs around, you end up messed up. So I think the second time in prison, my buddy got a life without sentence, 3 strikes you're out kind of deal on a federal drug charge. And we were locked up together, and he was married, had kids. Mm-hmm. I saw the suffering in him, and we were young then. Now I'm older now, but we were kids then, I guess we were adults, but we were still kids then. We didn't have the experience, stuff like that, and making stupid decisions that had repercussions, real repercussions. So I saw him break it down a lot, and we got locked up for fighting, and we spent a lot of times, 23 hours a day in a cell. You get to know a guy. And I was just like, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to do it different this time. I don't know what it was. I can't tell you. I think that maybe having that third strike was out there on me, and I was tired of it. It wasn't the life that I wanted. I think that I knew that I had to go deal with some of my bullshit, my stuff from being as a child. I had to deal with that and not just try to drown it away. So I think it was at that point I got down to my prison, and I was like, I'm going to do it different. I went to work, I was I've picked cotton, I've done hose squad, I've worked the kitchen, I did my stuff to get my class. And then I got a really great opportunity at the Department of Corrections at the Ricky's unit. I got a job as a mental health clerk with Miss Brenda Miner, who was a psychologist there. And she really took me under her wing and walked me through a lot of things, something that I hadn't done before. I hadn't really sat with it. Growing up, I ended up with CPS. I was in the juvenile system, getting arrested, that kind of stuff. I always have to go to counseling. They tried the drug or treatment approach, back then it wasn't Ritalin, but whatever they had back then. And none of that was for me. I think it took somebody that, some motherly love from somebody to sit down, talk to me. And when I got out, thankfully I had a family too, that I was able to lean on a lot. And when I got out, all I did was work. I just got out and worked. Went to prison out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I paroled out the second time to Northwest Arkansas.
That is great.
I think that was a lot of it, because if I would have went back to Fort Smith like I did the first time, I went right back on parole violation and new charges. I think your environment when you get out, because when you get out of prison, I mean, for most people, if you don't have a family, you don't have any connections, that means you have no money, you have nothing. And when you're getting out of prison, you usually don't have a driver's license, especially if you've had a drug charge. It's automatically suspended. So you got to get out. You've got to go to the courthouse, get the paperwork, take that down to the DMV. All of this costs money. Back then, we got a $50 check. I think today it's a $100 check. You can't get a phone and a plan for that.
Much, yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got to report within 24 hours to your parole officer. With what card? With what app? You can't get Uber because you don't have a phone yet. So you're trying to walk around. You get a parole plan that you set up before you go home. But you know how that is? I mean, you're usually the sixth wheel in there. And if you can find a spot, you have to go get a job. You're making minimum wage. It's a real difficult deal if you don't have somebody to lean on. Thankfully, I had somebody to lean on, and I had an opportunity. I mean, an opportunity is big. We need opportunities for our children and for the people in jail and for people impoverished. I mean, what's great about America? There's a lot of opportunity, and I've learned that. So I think that that having the opportunity to actually learn, it wasn't given to me to create what we did, but it was the opportunity to go in there and see what I could do was given to me. I took full advantage of it. And I got to be honest. I mean, anybody that's watching that sold drugs or is thinking about selling drugs, whatever, way more money legally than in the drug game. I mean, and the drug game, every single person that I know except one in my life, then either prison or they're dead. So there are real repercussions to going out there and playing in the game and messing with the drugs. And then, when I got out, I started thinking about some of the things and how the drugs affected things, and I didn't really put that together. And I'm selling drugs and making money for doing the lifestyle. You don't think about that stuff. I'm jacked up, so everybody else is jacked up. Some of that started coming together, and then I had my daughter, and I'm not having my daughter out in this bull. And I'm like, I gotta do something so my kids don't follow my path, and I'm working at the juvenile detention center, working with kids. I got to do something where they don't follow my path. And I had to do something different. And I was working with the kids. And then I talked to Governor Pritzker from Illinois. I had my felony charge. You want to ask questions? I feel like I'm just running my mouth. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. Ahead. Yeah, let's ask some questions. So first, I just want to point out, it's amazing. And you mentioned Miss Brenda and the impact that she had on your life. And I think that's a great call out, because sometimes, especially when you work those types of jobs, you don't know that you have an impact on anybody's life. And I think it's really important to say there are people having impacts, changing. Not only did she change your life and your trajectory, but your kids' lives, and then all the lives of those kids that you continue to impact. So I'd love to dive into a little bit on what you've done with S.C.A.R.S. I think it's a really amazing not-for-profit that you have started. So just to kind of set it up a little bit, my research shows that we've got over 600,000 confirmed children of abuse or neglect every year. And the Arkansas rate that I found, you may correct me, is just over 13 out of every 1,000 kids are a victim of abuse or neglect every year. And so you said you spent time with CASA, you spent time in the system really learning about and seeing the reality of child abuse. Is that what prompted you to start this organization? And then tell us a little bit about the organization.
Okay. So as we were doing our business was growing. And then my wife and I, we had a family business. And then my wife and I went out about, 14 years ago. And we started our business. We grew that over the years to a point to where I had some free time, and we were making some money. So I was able to put some money away and kind of step back a little bit, because otherwise it was, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. So I called a detective down in Fort Smith, Arkansas, that was on us the entire time. And the reason I called him is because right before I went to prison the second time, I was walking. I think I was walking to the gas station to get a pack of cigarettes or something, and I was with a friend. He knows us. He rolls up on us and says, "Get in the car." It's like, we don't have any warrants, you know. And at that point, we didn't like the police at all. And, we started talking trash, and he's like, "No, boys, just get in. Let's just have a conversation man to man." And I was like, "I'm not going to get caught in this bullshit. You get me in there, you guys take us and beat us." Because, I mean, stuff went down in the back of the day. And he's like, "No, I just wanted to holler at you boys." So we hopped in, and it was by Fiena Hills. I'll never forget it in my entire life. And he said, he just started driving around. He's like, "We know what you guys are doing. You guys know we're going to get you eventually, da, da, da." He's like, "But you guys are smart. Look what you're doing. Look how far you've gotten so far. Change it. You're going to end up in prison, and you may never get out." And that stuck. I don't know why. It just stuck with me. And so I called him, and I was like, "Detective, I need to do something. What can I do? You know my experience better than most. So what can I do?" He's like, "Why don't you go check out CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates."
Mm-hmm.
So I called up there, and I haven't had my pardons yet from J.B. Pritzker or Asa Hutchison. So I call up there. I'm in process. I'm waiting on Asa to sign off on it. And once he does, then Governor Pritzker is going to sign off on it. So I go there and I tell him, "Here's my story. I want to do something. Detective Risley, you can call him, ask him what's going on. I want to do something. How can I help?" And they let me come in, and they had to get some approval. But Crystal Vickmark gave me my spot and said, "Here you go. Let's see what you do." It was wonderful. My first case, I am forever, ever changed. Forever changed. I mean, I've been around a lot of stuff, Mindy, a lot of stuff in my time. And, I've seen a lot of violence in my life, a lot of violence. I mean, I have many friends that are in prison life without right now for murder. So I've been around a lot of things. I thought I've seen a lot of things. I have never seen anything like the child abuse and that has happened. And my first case was young kids, less than 11 years old, that were locked in a closet. This is in Madison County, locked in a closet, like locks on the outside, little mat inside, bucket to pee and use the bathroom in, and one little magazine for the boy, and the girl didn't have anything. So it killed me. And, I was just, I didn't understand what was happening. So, as a CASA, you're working with the court, you're working with everybody. And I was like, "When are they going to jail?" Nobody went to jail. And I was like, "How can you, if I did that to somebody, somebody's going to jail." Nothing happened. They said, I even asked the judge to make a criminal referral from the juvenile court to make a criminal referral. We just, at that point, that it was really bad. Things weren't happening. Prosecutions towards pedophiles. We call them pedophiles, but there wasn't a lot of action going on. So I get that, and I'm a little concerned. I get my next case, a 7 and a 5-year-old, both being sexually abused. Dad's been in trouble before. That there's been a lot of violence in that family, and nobody goes to jail. He got arrested for the drug charges, not for anything else, and I couldn't handle it anymore because these kids, I've heard their stories. I've seen their interviews. I'm with these kids. I talk to these kids, and they're kids. Babies. And I have kids, and
Yeah.
it just tore me up. I've never seen anything like it. And so I called in one of my attorney friends and I said, "Listen, what can I do?" So we sent out FOIA requests, hundreds of FOIA requests to all the prosecutors, sheriffs, Eastern and Western District, U.S. attorneys, and asking specific questions to try to come up with a survey of what's really, what kind of picture do we have out there? Because at that time, the problem with statistics, especially in this field, everybody's got a statistic for crimes against children. We're underreported. Arkansas claims that we have less foster kids. Well, we probably do. That's because we're taking less kids when we should really be taking them. However, we don't have a spot for them. We don't have any room in the jails or prisons. So as we've heard this week from the Department of Correction testimony, they have no room for anything. So we can't go arrest the 100 child predators on the street because there's no place to put them or the children. Because once you get the children, you got to have a foster home. We have no open beds anywhere.
Yeah,
we just had a family split
tragic.
because they didn't have a place. Kids were split up because there's not enough places. So I don't know. I said, I can't do this anymore. So we had the resources, and my wife said we need to do something, and we went for it. I didn't know I still don't know what I'm doing. All I'm trying to do is raise awareness. And so I'm doing the CASA thing, and then I was like, I got to do something bigger. I can't. I can only reach these kids at CASA. So we stepped out. We formed our nonprofit, and actually, I'll tell you, Pat Benatar. She's a singer from the old
Yeah.
days, but she's awesome. That is my mama right there. She really gave us a lot of encouragement. And then we've had some other friends that are in music industry and stuff that have given us a lot of encouragement, because we don't ask for money. I mean, we'll take your money, but we're just going to hand it out to the law enforcement agencies of crimes against children, or to the NGOs that are servicing these child victims. But we don't ask for money, because money is why these children are being sold. Money is a big reason a lot of children are being abused. So especially with the rise of familial trafficking.
So talk a little bit about specifically about S.C.A.R.S. That's your organization, right? And let's just tell people, first of all, what is your aim? Because you do connect, you're kind of a connector, right? You're connecting groups together. So talk a little bit about that.
So we form Saving Children and Reviving Souls, S.C.A.R.S. We're a 501c3. Again, I think we've only taken, and don't quote me, but like 6 donations ever. And most of that money has gone to we have donated 2 electronic detection canines that search out computer chips and phones, hard drives that contain child sex abuse material. So we donated those to our local sheriff, and 1 to the FBI Joint Task Force. So that's the stuff that we would use any money on. So S.C.A.R.S, what we're trying to do is, number one, raise awareness. We are shocked at how many people do not know the severity of what's going on out here, because it's awful. I mean, we had a sting in Tawnytown not a month and a half ago, and they picked up 3 guys trying to buy a child. It's horrible. It is so bad that last summer, Josh Robinson, the Benton County interim prosecutor, then he's now the chief deputy. Great guy. That guy right there, he's on it. But he made a statement to somebody that came down and said that he needed 100 detectives and 20 prosecutors to fight crimes against children in the area. And the guy that was there said, "Man, you need that in Northwest Arkansas?" He said, "No, I need that in Benton County."
Unbelievable.
If that doesn't tell you the severity of what's going on, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Kevin Holmes, the prosecutor down in Crawford County, he's hammering them. They could do this all day long, run undercover chat ops or run these stings, and always have work. There's always somebody on there. The 10 People Foundation, wonderful group. They came down and talked about things last week, I think last week, the week before, at a deal. It is getting worse and worse and worse, especially with AI. I mean, this extortion towards our children. Yeah, horrific. So S.C.A.R.S, we're trying to find resources, use our connections, our resources that we have to hook up law enforcement and crimes against children, because right now they don't have anywhere near the things that they need to do this job. We're fighting the crime syndicates. We're fighting cartels. We are fighting people with endless amounts of money. We're out here begging for $1. So we don't understand that. I still don't understand that. I'm never going to understand that. We're looking for relief, but I mean, there's AI programs right now that the underworld has. They're using regularly that the police do not have in the state of Arkansas. They've got to use it with the feds. So these are the things that we want to help change. And if we can hook somebody up that can help that happen, we want to do that. We also do a lot of work with the kids. We work with the group homes. We have our foster kids that we work with. And then the NGOs and the DCFS girls on the front line. We try to support them as much as possible. We've had golf tournaments. We try to take care of these people that are doing the job, because if I dealt with babies in bloody diapers every day, 60 hours a week, and the horrific things they see, going in and taking people's children out when they're high on meth and there's needles around, or fentanyl, for $38,000 a year, I'm going to need some mental health therapy.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I mean, I've been to a couple of your events, and I've seen the good work that you do and how you bring people together. You bring these organizations together. You do lift them up in amazing ways. They get recognition that otherwise these workers would not get. Nobody is out there praising them the way that they deserve to be praised, for sure. But I will say one of the most interesting things from, I think, the very first event that I went to with you was where you had live streaming a police officer chatting with a predator. And I think the officer was pretending to be like a 12-year-old girl, right? And in real time, parents and there were a lot of parents in attendance for that event, was able to see this is how easy your 12-year-old gets sucked in by this person pretending to be another 12-year-old girl, right? That the predator will be pretend to be a friend, and it was shocking to me how easy that was and how quick it happened.
Yes. The access they have to our children now, we just did a presentation for 9 to 12-year-olds at Lake Fort Smith talking about this because my own son plays Fortnite. They try to get them on their private chats. Roblox, these are things. I don't mind them playing the games. Roblox, if you have Roblox, people, please delete it, get rid of it. It is nothing but problems. We catch more things there than anything. Roblox, bad. Fortnite, if they don't get on the direct messages, the private messages, you're going to be all right. But monitor what they're doing. But the access they have to our kids right now, especially with AI, is unbelievable. I mean, and once these kids get caught on their phone talking to these people, then they get control of their camera. They're getting pictures of them in their underwear. They just need a picture of their body, and with AI, they can make them naked, and they can send that out to their priests, their preachers, their pastors, their school, their counselors, threaten them. That's what they're sextorting them with. What they make sex videos, which thankfully in the state of Arkansas, as we make a statement that we are number one in child protection, we are making that climb now. That stuff's no longer allowed here. State of Arkansas now, obviously this will never happen, but it will be a life without sentence. But if you rape a child in the state of Arkansas, what is it, 13 or 14 now? Is it 13 or under? It's death penalty.
Yeah,
so
it is.
These are things that I want to say that for at least for the state of Arkansas, Governor Sanders and the first gentleman, I got to tell you, wonderful. The first gentleman is a guy that when it comes to kids, picks up the phone. You know, when I first met the governor and told her about our mission, how can we help? None of the political stuff, none of that. How can we help? Our attorney general, same thing. He's hammering them right now. That is a priority for the state of Arkansas. Matt Foster at our Human Trafficking Council, they're on it. And I think that the way that we have it set up right now on our corridor in the Western Arkansas, you've got Kevin Holmes in Crawford County, you've got Dennis Dean in Washington County, and you got Josh Robinson in Benton County. They are handing out, 50 plus years, life sentences all day long to child predators, and these guys running fentanyl. I think we're making a statement in the state of Arkansas. We had a lot of great legislation this year. Senator Hester, Senator Bryant. Mindy, you need to get a lot of credit here for all the stuff that you're doing. I mean, you should talk about that, of how you help the mission moving this forward with these kids. It is, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take everybody, we, the people, and the communities to make changes. A lot of the legislators didn't know how severe it is out here.
No, and I think we still don't. I mean, you don't want to scare people, but you certainly want people to be aware of what's happening, and that it's an epidemic. It is not something that happens on the other side of the state or, in a different portion of the country. It is happening right here in our hometown, in our backyard. And so we need to make people aware of that. And you are doing a great job of that. So real quick, let's wrap this up. And I hate to, because there's so much more that we need to talk about. And I feel like we have barely scratched the surface on what people need to know. But if they want to get involved with S.C.A.R.S, or they want to volunteer some time, how do they connect with you? What is the best way to do that?
You can look at our website, savingkidskidz.org. We use KIDZ. I've been asked this a few times because I don't want to say our kids aren't normal, but we're dealing with a different type of kid, and we want that little rock effect to it. We want to feel these kids. We want them to feel that they have somebody there. And I can tell you that music for us is huge. Music is a big healing thing. It's a healing tool for us with these kids. We like to give out iPads, stuff like that. So savingkids.org, you can reach out on there. There's a lot of resources on there. We want you to reach out to your NGOs that are on the front line. We want you to call your representatives. Tell them we want to prioritize our at-risk and foster youth. I mean, that is the biggest thing that we could do. Let them know what's going on, and things will change. And I think that we have the right legislators right now, for real. I love Arkansas. I'm proud to be an Arkansan. I got my life back here, number one,
Yeah.
and the opportunity to go out there, and I really do want to make us number one in the country in child protection, because if we had a model that worked, there are millions out there that are suffering horrors that we can't, the unspeakable. And I think that we can save them. I think that we can go get them and we can make changes. And if we do so, the overcrowding in the prisons, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, all that other stuff that goes on as adulthood, a lot of that is going to be minimized, because like me, I try to wash away all my stuff with drugs and alcohol, and that's how the path I got on. And that's a very typical thing. I was a mental health clerk at a prison. That was a common denominator, trauma as a child. So
Well, you were certainly doing.
You need to tell people how much you do for the kids. I mean, we are so thankful for you making sure that they're prioritized.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I am just grateful for what you do. I am so glad that we met a couple years ago, and it has just been amazingly eye-opening to see what you do, but also just humbling to see how dedicated you and your family are to this mission. And so I appreciate all that you do. So thank you so much for joining me. Absolutely. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to talking to you soon. Appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Take care. Certainly, Brentt Tumey has brought a lot of information and a passionate heart to this issue. Coming from a very difficult childhood, having experience within the court-appointed special advocates, and seeing the effects of children being abused and neglected firsthand, he has dedicated his life to now trying to bring awareness, to bring resources, and to help those that are on the front lines do their jobs even better. Reach out to him. He is at Saving Kids, KIDZ.com. His organization is called S.C.A.R.S, S-C-A-R-S. And I will look forward to seeing you next week in the arena.